What's up, guys? Shouri here, and today I'm here to talk to you about Sindri, why it is such a good and easy healer to use, and exactly what you should be doing if you're playing her. So, one of the cool things about Sindri is you can just go out there, do a little bit of damage. Every 12 seconds, you can heal yourself back up, and you have this little green circle around you that you can see, and as long as your teammates are within that, you are healing them every second for a set amount. And also, whenever you set down your turret, you can also heal them with that. That way you can set your turret up close into the action, and then you can kind of get back to safety as I'm doing here. So right here you can see all the healing I'm doing to my team, but I'm being smart, I'm staying back, and I had switched to my Sindri in this game because I was doing so bad. We had basically already lost the game. It was rough. But then I realized my team just needs a healer. So I go Sindri and I do my best to just avoid damage. I'm not trying to kill these people. I'm not trying to get to them. I'm just trying my best to do what damage I can and stay away from everybody. And then if my teammates need a little bit of help, I can pump in some damage. And the cool thing is, unlike Labula and some other characters, your healing is all passive based on where you're standing. So if you do want to go in and do damage, you are not hurting your team in any way. When you're playing Labula, if you run in and you're shooting someone, that means you're not healing your team. So it makes it a lot better if you are using this, if you're going after somebody, as long as you're not putting yourself in danger and making you die, you can be a big benefit to your team. Even this late stage in the game, even as a Sindri, we are able to do a ton of damage, get a ton of kills, and keep our team alive. And this is at Platinum, which when I recorded this, there weren't that many diamonds, but it still works all the way through. And that's why you will often see this paired with something like a Labula, because the simple fact that you can give those steady heals over time, and then a Labula can get all that burst damage for you. But you can do burst healing. That is what your ability's for. Whenever you are in trouble and you get to about half health, you should go ahead and pop it, because why not? And do your best to use things around you to your advantage. If you are on the attacking team, make sure you're next to that cart. And if someone's up above you, you can jump, throw your turret up there, and do a little bit of damage that way. Make sure you're helping your team, not just giving them the heals, but when you can get that little extra damage in there, go ahead and do it. But you do got to be careful. You don't want to be at the front. You don't want to be where you have no cover. Because with this character, you cannot burst heal. I mean, you do have your ability every 12 seconds, but that's not very often. I mean, if they get on you hard and you have nowhere to go, that's just not enough healing to get through things. And you can't really heal yourself in a big way outside of that. So I do recommend things like this, where I'm taking a risk going up to this Christina. I am doing what I can to dodge things, and I did take back my turret to heal it up and then get everything I could out of that. But I know I have that 12-second cooldown heal up, so if I do take large damage, I can disengage from the fight, heal myself, and get away, and that's basically the way you need to think about it. Take a little bit of risk when you need to, as long as you have your heal up, but that's the only way you can really heal yourself, especially quickly, so you do need to be careful with that. Right here, we're just putting out a little bit of damage, but for the most part, we're staying out of the line of fire. I am just yanking back my turret every once in a while, that way I can replace it. I kept placing it in front of the cart because I'm an idiot, but by the way, don't do that because it will destroy it. And basically what we're doing here is we are doing our best to stay alive, get a little bit of damage out, but all importantly, we were just trying not to die, because that's all your team needs. When you are playing Sindri, they don't necessarily need your help, although I did help a lot there, so it is great that I can put that damage out. but what my teammates really need from me is for me to be there with them, to stay alive and keep out that constant healing. And if you have good teammates, they understand that too. They understand if they're very low, you don't have burst healing. They have to stay in the circle of you. They have to kind of dodge the damage. And that is one downside to this character, because if you play solo like I do, everyone sucks. So they don't really know how to play. But you can communicate that nicely through the voice chat system. Hey, if you get low, just try to hide and get in my green circle. You will heal yourself and everything will be okay. It is something that you may have to tell them. But as you can see, the healing numbers are pretty crazy. And here's another game where I switched to a Sindri. I was playing Osus before this and it just really wasn't working. Our team was absolutely screwed. And then all it took was me having to change and just seeing the amount of difference it makes. If you know anything about this map and game type, having almost 4 minutes left this far in, you basically are going to win on attack every time. But the thing is, my team did not have a very good healer, and we really needed me to switch over, and it made all the difference in the world. And I played it as good as you possibly can, really. I made sure that I stayed out of the way of everything. Whenever my teammates got super low, I would either drop my turret on them, or I would help by getting within their distance, and most importantly, I would keep pressure up, shooting little bits from far away, and then getting behind something. That way you are putting your damage out manually, far away, and then you are dodging their damage back. You can help get down shields very easily like this, which is something that is a problem with Ruby, where Ruby shields can be a really big factor in winning games for the other team. And you can just do little bits of damage out to things like Gatlin while your team is trying their best to stay alive, but the whole time you're dancing around and keeping yourself alive, because that's what it's all about. Like I said, you need to make sure you are being smart. Don't die, because that circle of healing's all your team's got, and it is very, very good if you're alive. And it does rely on your team actually knowing they need to be near you. You can kind of supplement this with having a turret, and I do try to put my turret a little bit further outside of my circle. I try not to stand on it completely. As you can see, I go back a little bit to throw my turret down. This gives me a wider area of things I can heal, but mainly I'm focusing on me being alive near my teammates and just making sure I don't put myself in a bad position. As you can see, I'm using the cart for nice amounts of cover. I'm staying near my fort shield at all times. Whenever he was throwing the ball in or the Gatlin would be there, I would make sure I am behind the shield. And then when the shield's down, I am behind the cart. This ensures that I'm healing my tank, that I can put out little bits of damage here and there, but most importantly, I'm not able to be targeted unless they get straight up close to me, and in that case, I'm pumping out the damage, and my teammates know that they want me to live. So if I just run around the cart, drop my turret here and there, my turret will do damage, my teammates will keep me alive, and you can definitely see the fort understands his role. He is doing everything in his power to keep me alive, because as soon as I switch from Johnny Jet and Osus to the Sindri, we started doing a lot better. They do finally end up pumping in a bunch of different things like their ults, and then we finally had me being taken down by Vincent. By the way, Vincents make their teams lose no matter how many kills they get. I'll stand by that for the rest of my life. But what we need to do is make sure that our team can take these guys on. So as all my team comes in the front, I'm going to go in the back, and then I immediately pop my ult. What I'm doing here is getting off to the side, immediately dropping my turret, and that way my turret's hitting them from the back, giving the maximum amount of coverage of healing, and that allows us to swiftly take them all down without losing a single person. The reason for this, they were distracted by my ult and me in the back, so they just got shot in the back by my team. Easy deaths, the Gatlin just cleaned up, and we had a huge amount of healing, which totally destroyed them, and going around the carts and stuff just totally made it easy. My teammates knew what to do, and it worked. What we have to do in control is way different than in cart. So in cart, pretty much everyone can go back to the cart, and they're around you. Even if they're kind of far away, a lot of the people far away have a lot of cover. In this, it's not necessarily the case. Just because you're far away from your healer doesn't necessarily mean you're in cover, and especially if you are going to attack their ranged damage. So you do have to be really cognizant of that, and you have to move a lot more. You have to make sure that your turret placement in the middle is good while you're going off to help your team if they're low. Right there, I was seeing if my teammates were going to win the fight or not, and they can come back, but it was very obvious they were fine, so I stayed here. But that's why I dropped my turret in the middle, because I knew I could go over to my team and help them. As you can see, the shell knew to come back and get the heals, and the good thing is, most people know that if you go to the Sindri circle, you will get the heal, so they are very good about being low and coming back to get heals. But you still need to be paying attention if you want to be a good Sindri. Try to do a little bit of damage to help, and especially if things get crazy like this in the middle, make sure that your teammates are in the circle, but you're not the center of attention. Once my teammates were basically screwed, I just popped my ult and kind of made myself the center of attention. But for the most part, you don't need to do that. You need to stay alive. Your circle of healing is much more important. So on this map in particular, you want to stay on the edges of these little right angles and just make sure that you are on the side that will get you the least damage, but keep your team in the most heals. And remember, you always have your turret to be able to get in the mix. But your turret dies, then it is a very long cooldown, like 8 or 9 seconds. If you yank it back and let it heal, it's only 4 seconds. That's why I just took it back. We're going to let it heal a bit, and then we can redrop it when we're ready. This does a couple different things. One, it allows you to put your turret in the maximum efficient place to get all the heals in the world, and also a place that it's protected. And the second thing it does is it heals it, so when it is discovered and people do focus it, it gives you more times to yank it back and heal it back up without it dying, giving you that 9-second redo. So it is important to pay attention to, and it's something that only really Sindri has to pay attention to, so it is a skill you might need to develop, and it isn't the easiest in the world. But once we realized that it was 99% contested, we went ahead and just popped our ult. We did a great job there to get some kills, stay alive, got a 96.1 gold medal by staying in the middle for the whole game and basically just giving the insane amount of heals that our team needed. So I put my turret in the middle to try to actually bait them out, and it really didn't do that because I guess these guys just suck. But finally they did go for it, and I did yank it back in time, but while they were attacking my turret, they were not attacking me or my team, allowing us to kind of get away. I do finally have to pop my ability to heal, but I do get out of it just in time, giving a good amount of damage to the JJ, getting the kill, and starting our team off in a pretty good way. Luckily, we were able to take this shell as well, and I was able to keep these guys alive pretty good off of my turret and then me. One thing you do need to remember as a Sindri, your best thing is staying alive. Like, obviously you want to stay alive as healer, but considering your heals are literally just you being near people, and there's a circle that shows everyone on your team around you, so they know how to get to you, and so if you move out of the way, they will follow you or figure it out, and if they don't, then like, well, at least you're alive, and you might be able to come back to them, or just basically be alive for the next round of things. You staying alive is all that matters. You want to try to stay near them, but you being near them and dead does nothing. So you do need to think about jumping, having some good movement, always paying attention to not just what's in front of you, but also what's to your sides and in the distance, because you need to make sure that you are able to get away from things. Unlike Cart, where pretty much one side is where everything comes from, like you'll know if somebody's coming around you. In Control, it's completely different because of the fact that they can come from pretty much any way without you ever knowing that they had gone around, because they can go all the way around and you will never know if they take the right route. So you do need to be careful. And right here, I noticed all my teammates died, so I made sure to wait for my team. You going out and dying does nothing but just lose the game for your whole team, because either your team has to wait for you to respawn, or they have to go in without a healer, completely staggering both your spawns for the rest of the game. So if you see your whole team dies, or there's just one guy out there, the likelihood of you and your teammate being able to 1v5 or 2v5 is basically none. So just wait for the rest of your team. You can go in, they'll have a healer, and everything will be much better that way. Right there, I did end up dying. I probably should have hid or done something a little different, but we did survive for quite a while, and I mean, it is basically as good as we could hope for. Right here, we are going for the Johnny Jet and getting him out of his little comfortable hiding spot. He did have to use his ability to get out over to the side, and my teammates are focused on people other than him, so I'm just going to leave him alone, make sure that I'm in this spot and cognizant of the fact he's over there, and just making sure that I'm focusing on what my teammates are focusing on. Getting that kill will give you an extra kill in the stats, but it doesn't necessarily help your team. What helps your team is you being there to heal them and winning the game. You guys having the ability to go and get inside of that heal and being able to keep it is all that matters. And like I said with Sindri, stay alive and your team will thrive. And that really is the name of the game. And in this hill in particular, it is a lot easier than others to be able to stay alive doing this. Because you can put your turret on either side, so it is a little more hidden, or in the middle where it can do some damage as well. Depends on like the team you're playing against and really just how you feel comfortable doing. But you basically have options to run away from things. Right here, we get the guy coming behind us. I use my ability, and I do my best to kite him around. This gives my teammate the ability to do all the damage, and then my turret just cleans everything up. The funny thing is, my turret's the one that got the kill, and the reason I dropped the turret was because the guy either focuses on my turret and stops shooting me, allowing me to get my health back, or he just dies to my turret, basically. And all the while he's chasing me, my teammates are the ones killing him, my turret shooting him, and since my turret's there, even if I run out of range, my teammates are still getting killed by the turret. And if they switch hard to the turret, I know I'm safe, I can loop back around and make sure my teammate's still getting those heals, and I am never in danger, unless again, I get charged by Fade. Because getting charged by Fade sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? Jordy's thumbnails, and he can make your thumbnails too. Go to my description and get his Discord info, and then you can have amazing thumbnails as well at affordable prices, and he's so great to work with, even if you're a complete moron just like me. Alright guys, I hope you all have a great day.